Thank you very much for this opportunity to be with you today in this so prestigious place. So my name is Stéphane Requena. I'm the CTO of GENCI. So I will tell you a bit more about GENCI, but today the goal is to talk about HPC infrastructure, sovereignty, open models, startups, quantum innovation, etc., etc. And I'm the last one before the lunch, so I will try to be brief. So first, a few words about GENCI. So GENCI, it's a public service which has been created 20 years ago almost by the French government in order to support the French researcher from academia and industry to access to supercomputers and now quantum computers for their workload in numerical simulation, HPC, AI, and now hybrid quantum computing. So we are a public service. Access to GENCI is free of charge if you commit to publish results in scientific conference, journal, or papers. We are based in Paris, and we have 3 data centers in the south of Paris and the south of France. As an example, last year, we addressed the needs of more than 2,400 research projects in many fields. It could be applied research, fundamental research, numerical simulation, AI, quantum, academia, industry. So this exotic cocktail cannot fit in a single machine. So in the 3 data centers, we have 3 different machines. On the top left, we have a machine called Jules Curie in the computing center of CA. This machine is really for numerical simulation. We have a lot of CPUs for numerical simulation. I will talk a bit about quantum. On this center, we have already 2 and quite soon 3 quantum processors attached to this machine and already preparing the future. And these quantum computers are also accessible for you for free for research. As we are in the conference of AI, also, I will focus on the middle. So in the square, you have the 2 machines we have for with GPUs. So in the middle, we have a machine which is quite known called GENCI. So GENCI is a flagship of the French national strategy for AI. So this machine has been installed, let's say, 6 years ago. And like the cat, she had multiple lives already. So we made a lot of upgrades on this machine. So currently now, this machine is around 4,000 GPUs from NVIDIA. And in the south of France, not in the south of Paris, in the south of France, we have another machine in which we have AMD and CPU and GPU. So you know very well the GPU from NVIDIA, but AMD is doing also very good GPUs. So on this machine, we have also 2,000 GPUs. What is notable to see is that among the 2,400 projects we did last year, 70% are now AI related. So 1,700 projects in AI, which is a record in Europe. No other country is doing so many projects for research in Europe. And it could be even AI for AI, I used to say, so NLP, vision, robotics, agentic, as well as something very important, because I'm coming from this field, is AI for science. So AI for biology, health, material science, climate, etc., etc. So what are the users of this machine? Of course, researchers from academia and public services. So you will find the stakeholders of GENCI, so CNRS, CEA, INRIA, etc. Universities, engineering schools. I could fill the full slide with engineering schools, as well as specific and tailored research organizations, including, for example, INSERM or ONERA. And with AI, we had also a lot of new communities coming to us, including, for example, ministries. So we are working with a lot of ministries and also with startups helping ministries, as well as, for example, the French Ministry of Defense or the French police, for example, training model for deepfakes. I don't know in the audience how many startups are here, but our facilities are also open to industry. So on this slide, you see the list of industrial users already using our machines. So on the top left, on the top right, sorry, you have the list of large companies, and the rest of the world is AI startups. So when in France, people say AI is the matter of startups, I can provide you here a real evidence, an empiric evidence about how rich the French ecosystem is for AI in startups. And it's not only the number, which is impressive, and the logo, some of them are quite known now, it's the variety. So AI is NLP, it's vision, it's material science, biology, legal, finance, gaming, recycle of waste. It could be neuro implants, for example, etc., etc. So I could spend the full conference about the example we have already. And as we have 3 startups speaking, I'm very happy to see that the 3 startups speaking today are also already users of our machines, so I'm pretty proud of that. And thank you for your support. So if you have an interest to use our machines, we are meant to research. So we are not here to address production, business, but we can help you for everything related to research. Rapidly on quantum, so we are also thinking about the future. So in the field of the French national strategy on quantum, we are already installing 2 and soon 3 quantum computers with different modalities. So the first one we installed was coming from Pascal, it's based on neutral atoms. The second one is coming from Candela, it's coming from photonics. And the third one, installed next year, is coming from 4 qubits from Alice and Bob. So we have different hardware, and the goal for us, even if the machines are a bit noisy, is to understand in the future what the applications which are going to be supported and could benefit from. So these quantum computers are also available for you, and we have also a lot of ideas in the field of AI for quantum and quantum for AI. But it's not enough. There are plenty of things we cannot do now with the current generation of systems. I will take only the example of, for example, of Airbus. If you want to model a full plane, so all the physics, if you want to do that in overnight, because the dream of the Airbus engineer is to model during the day and to compute during the night, you need to multiply by 100 or 1,000 the size of the machine, and it's perhaps not enough. There are also a lot of examples, but if you want to model, for example, digital twin of your body, if you want to predict extreme events in climate, for example, if you want, I put the logo of Mistral, but if you want to train frontier AI models, or even if you want to do something, you see the circle, it's agentic AI for research. So how, in the future, agents are going to help the researcher in hypothesis generation, code generation, code experimentation, validation, etc., etc. This is striking, and is coming from US, and we need to think about how we can support our researchers with this kind of tools providing AI assisted for science. So the next graal for us is called exascale. So it's machines which are 50 to 100 more powerful than the one I showed you previously. And it's not done only by France, it's done within an organization called EuroHPC, in which 38 countries decide to unite with the European Commission into a single entity, able to fund research as well as deploying a very big infrastructure, able to cope with US and China. So in this EuroHPC story, we are going to provide next year the most powerful supercomputer for research called Alice Rocoque. So when I say we, it's not only France, it's France, the Netherlands, and Greece together with the European Commission. So we are going to invest €500 million over 5 years to fund this machine. So you see the increase of budget. I don't know if you remember on the first slide, I forgot to mention that the budget of GENCI is 30 million per year. So you see how it's important to rely on Europe for providing all the budget we need to deploy this kind of beast. So this machine will be installed in the computing center of CA in south of France next year. So we already started some work. When I say work, it's quite impressive because the computing center is already existing. But this machine will require a lot of computing power. We require also hot water cooling. So we did a lot of work to adapt the computing center prior to the delivery of the system. So you have some example already. We had to reinforce, for example, the slab, because the new racks are going to be quite heavy. We had to provide new cooling capacities, new electric capacity up to 24 megawatt, etc., etc. And we did that in a site in production. So this machine, Alice Rocoque, I used to say is the most European system in Europe. Why? Because EuroHPC and us decide to buy a solution coming from Bull. It was previously called Eviden or Atos. Now it's Bull. So they are providing all the infrastructure, so all the rack, all the cooling, etc. is European. It's made in Angers, quite close from here. Then the computing power is coming essentially, I need to admit it, but essentially from US component for the moment. So we are going to rely on AMD technology. So we are going to have AMD CPU and also AMD GPU. So the next generation of AMD GPU called MI400, in which we are going to have very big and very fat GPU. So this is very interesting because the only performance I can give you for the moment, because everything is under NDA for the moment, It's the size of the memory. So you see the size of memory is more than 400 gigabytes of memory. So if you think about training large-scale model, if you think about localizing big KV cache inside this memory, this machine is for you. The second part of the sovereignty is coming from the network. So Bull is developing its own compute network, and this machine will be fed by a very high-speed network, which is very important if you want to scale your model across the machine. And the third point of sovereignty, and we are pretty proud of that, we are going to put European CPUs on the machine. So after more than 10 years of this dream, it's a reality now. So this company is called Cyperl. They developed the first European processor. It's an ARM-based processor. And this processor is going to equip Alice Rocock, like it's also equipping already a first exascale system we have in Germany called Jupiter, but at a different scale. It's important, yeah, sovereignty. We see sometimes a lot of people talking about sovereignty, but it's also important to have people acting on sovereignty. And this machine will be the most sovereign supercomputer in Europe for the moment. So in terms of calendar, so it's a long story. We started already a long time ago. But this machine now is coming live. So we are going to install the machine in the coming month. The machine will be available end of next year. But in the meantime, we already started the support of the communities. So for example, we are going to receive a first rack called Helios from AMD in order to prepare all the communities to use the AMD GPU for HPC and AI. So it's important to have a machine for AI, but it's not enough. The European strategy launched a very big, an ambitious vision called AI Continent, in which we have something related to infrastructure. So I'm going to tell you a bit more about AI factories. Something I will forget to talk, but I can talk later with you, called Gigafactory. So Gigafactory is something which is missing in Europe. In Europe, we have means for research, but we don't have means for inference and commercial activities. Gigafactory is going to provide machines with 100,000 of GPUs for commercial inference. This is really what is missing in Europe. So this is the plan of Gigafactory. They are going to make some effort in the field of data, skills, regulation, because AI Act will be a bit smoothened, etc., etc. So what is an AI factory? An AI factory is an optimized supercomputer in which we are going to put something as useful as the GPU. It's skills and men and women for supporting your job on the daily life. So there are already 19 AI factories in Europe. So it's a call which has been launched by the European Commission already last year or 18 months ago. Sorry, my slide was a bit cursed. So there are AI factories across Europe. So 19 AI factories, some antennas, you have the map. There are already some systems which have been deployed. There are already a lot of optimized access to this machine and the services which are deployed. So this network of AI factories is for you. And in this network, there is a special factory called AI Factory France. I hope that my slide is not going to change every time. So AI Factory France is beyond GENCI, largely. In this consortium, with the support of INRIA and many actors, we are going to federate the AI ecosystem in France. I'm pretty convinced, and I hope you are also, we have all the means in France. We have the good skills, the startups, the infrastructure, public, private, etc. We have the data. What is important is to make a team now. And this is the ambition, if I may, of this project, to federate a bit more the French ecosystem. Because it's the most powerful ecosystem in Europe, definitely. So in this consortium, we have entities from research. We are pretty proud to have also the defense agency from the AI agency for the Ministry of Defense. It's a good order. We have Station F, which is the biggest incubator in the world. We have Check, which is the largest entrepreneur network, at least in Europe. Francia, which is quite active also. Many universities, you will understand that. And we have a lot of partners which are not funded, but part of the vision. And these partners mainly are industrial users, and Linagora is part of them. I'm pretty proud for your support, Michel Marie. But you will find Scaleway, OVH Cloud, Mistral, and others. You will understand why later. So the goal of AI Factory is to provide you what is called a one-stop shop. So what is a one-stop shop? It's an access to everything you need for developing your business and developing your research and your business using AI. So it's access to compute, access to public facilities for research, but not only. Something we did in France, And it is why you have some logos like Scaleway, OVH, Mistral, and others. We are the first one in Europe to offer you the possibility to stay sovereign from A to Z. So you train your model in our facilities, you do research, and then only by clicking on your keyboard, you are able to deploy automatically an endpoint on Scaleway, for example. So of course, we are a bit far from OVH, from Amazon and others for the moment, but we start to have a solution for you. Second point, access to data. So access to data is critical for developing good models. So we need to open datasets, public, private, sensitive, and these datasets need to be available in our facility. So we are working with a lot of communities to open datasets and make it then available for you in our systems. Third one is model. So we are in an open source organization here, a conference. We have already more than 600 models available on GENCI. So it's very important to promote open source, open models, and we are going to continue, and largely beyond what we do in France, because as you understand, we are connected with almost 20 AI factories in Europe. So the goal is to expose your model across Europe. So this project is called AI Factory France. It could have been called Mythic. So the goal is really to connect you and to support you across Europe to scale out your innovation and your views. Other point is it's also training services. So we need to attract, train, retrain, and retain people. So that's why we have so many universities present. So we are going to rely on a very big beast project called AI Clusters in France, in which more than close to 400 million euros is devoted to training of people. So our small project will benefit from this big project in training people in many different fields. Support services, we have already in the computing center, in our computing center, we have GPU, CPU, but we have also men and women. So these support activities are here to welcome you virtually in the center, to help you to install your model, to optimize your model on the machine, to train, to help you, and this is also free of charge. So you will benefit from that, but largely beyond HPC. This expert will allow you to choose your dataset, to build your model, to provide you all the data stewardship services, as well as benchmarking your model, evaluation of the model, publication of the model, etc., etc. And the last point is related to ecosystem development. Again, we are here to do some Mythic again. So we are going to connect you with all the AI factories. So if you want to be visible in Poland, in Turkey, in Finland, you can call us and we'll help you to push your business in these countries. We have a VC office, so we have already 12 VCs available for you to help you in your funding scheme. You saw the logo of Station F. We are going to deploy an incubator office in which, in the same way, incubators will help you in developing your business. So, of course, this project started a few months ago, so everything is not started for the month, but it will be deployed in the coming month. And why we are doing that? We are doing that because we decided to focus on 12 application verticals. So if you remember the slide with all the logos, this is why we made this decision. The other factories are focused on 5 or 6 verticals. We are quite ambitious to think about that we need to accelerate the deployment of AI in many verticals, so 12. I will give some example. Health, the biggest user of our facilities for AI is health now. I will take the example of robotics. So if you attended RAISE or Vivatech, you saw how robotics is important in France. And it could be the killer application of AI. And we have already a lot of startups, a lot of researchers doing robotics. I could take also the example of defense. 18 months ago, when you applied, we are the only one to say we need to focus on AI for defense and cybersecurity. And now everyone say, oh, okay, it was not a bad idea finally. So it's important really to also accelerate on defense and cybersecurity, etc., etc. So I will finish with, I don't know how long I have, but I will finish with 2 examples of what we did, and especially on open models. So the first one is coming from Doctolib. So we are pretty proud to have engaged with Doctolib a few months ago. So they released this month a first model and a first dataset. So the first model is called Doctobert. So they trained all the model in our facilities. It's based on the BERT, in which we are providing a lot of medical data, which has been validated by the Hospital of Nantes. And the second one, it's It's a data set, of course, which has been also fully developed in our facilities. So it's interesting because everything now it's open source. It's available on Hugging Face, and it's a first of a kind. There will be a lot of new models coming from Doctolib. They really decided to invest the AI field with INRIA as well. So pretty happy to have them on board. Of course, I forget to say that I could spend some time talking about Luciole, but you have this afternoon a very nice presentation of Luciole. But of course, pretty proud, Michel-Marie, to have your trust and your teams working for us. The last point, we'll close the loop about how we think that public and private need to work together. And I don't know if Anastasia is around, but we are pretty proud about this result coming, which has been demonstrated during Vivatech between RATP, so the French metro operator, the Parisian metro operator, sorry for that. So they decide to develop from scratch a new model. So they work very closely with a startup called Playas, so Anastasia, kudos for that. And they decide to develop their own model, an SLM, a small model, because they used in the past to use very big models. And in terms of accuracy, it was not so bad, but it was a very big model, not very easy to handle. So they decided to develop their own model in open source. So this model is used for early detection of emergency situation in the metro. So they are browsing all the X or Twitter messages, all the instant messages, and there is a reasoning model able to qualify and to really pop up at the proper level, the level of emergency. So what is interesting is that this model has been trained in our facility in GENCI, in Orsay. And by using the tool we developed with Scaleway, this team has been able to deploy automatically on Scaleway for doing the daily life production, so the daily life inference. We cannot, as you remember, we cannot run production on inference-based production, but now what they did, by only clicking a keyboard, they develop automatically, they push automatically their inference point automatically to Scaleway, and it's running in production now. So this is illustrating how it's important for public and private to collaborate, and it's a strength we have in Europe. So I will be exaggerating, but in US, mainly, everything is dominated by the private. In China, you had a presentation previously, it's dominated by the state, in which we don't see who is doing what. In Europe, we have a strength, we have the public, the private, and even the military discussing together. So let's cultivate this strength, and let's make this kind of partnership together. The last point, we are not alone. We're not thinking that the Holy Grail is Europe. There is a big continent called Africa in which we need to go to invest. We cannot leave Africa to the Chinese people or to the American. We need to reinvest in Africa. So we filmed, for example, recently a collaboration with Morocco, but it's not the only one, in which we are going to help them to develop their own AI factory, to develop their services, to develop AI for health, for climate, etc., etc. So this is what I wanted to tell you. So how it's important, I think, to have public facilities, to articulate properly with sovereign actors wanting to collaborate in this global view. How it's important to rely on open source, because open source is the key for innovation, for diffusion of AI. How we are ready to support you if you want to help to use our facilities, and how it's important to think globally. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and if you have some questions, I'm ready to answer to you.
We have time for 1 or 2 questions. Who wants to ask a question? Thank you very much about the GENCI. We have a question here? Yeah, okay. 1 question here, above. Who can help for the questions? You have someone from with a microphone for the questions, please.
So thank you very much.
Microphone is coming. Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Alice Recoq and just how did you? Maybe you told us how many GPUs, but I forgot. And will it have the same access procedure as for GENCI?
Yeah,
or is it going to be more like Dahlia, which we like because it's a free-for-all on Dahlia?
It's a good question, yeah. So Alice Recoq is owned by EuroHPC and co-owned by us. So 50% of the machine will be accessible through EuroHPC procedure, which are very close to the one we use in France, based on open research. There are some very fast track also if you want to engage in a few days. And then you have longer calls. So half of the machine by your HPC, other machine by the French system, perhaps you know already. So we are going to replicate and extend what we do on Alice Recoq. So Alice Recoq will benefit from everything we did already at a new scale of thousands of GPUs.
Thank you.
You have time for one last question or one other. If I say last, you will never dare to ask it. If I say another. Are we good? Okay, people are hungry, right?
Yes. Imagine.
Thank you very much. We can have a warm applause for Stéphane.